Hello, love. I am Sarah Sparks. I am your soul alignment visionary and abundance mentor. I'm the healed creatrix of divine wealth. What does that all mean? I am a farm raised, college educated, former local government employee turned business owner who's no longer ashamed of her spiritual gifts. And I've stepped fully into those spiritual gifts, and I'm here right now to tell you and to share with you and to give you that missing piece to feel for you to feel complete. So many millionaires that I've gotten the privilege of working with, successful women. On the outside, they look like stellar, everything's together, but something always keeps feeling like it's missing. What is that missing piece? And after working with thousands of people, whether it be channeling souls calling, group programs, masterminds, one-on-one, 13 years of experience in this coaching industry. The number one thing that I have found over and over and over again, that missing piece, is soul. Your authenticity, your true self, aligning the soul of your business, the energy of your business with the energy of you. So I want to take these next few moments and go over just what I'm talking about with this missing piece, and maybe possibly it could truly help you as well. So you've done the courses, you've hired the coaches. Yeah, we got that. And you really have tried the healing modalities as well, right? I did. And some of it helped, but deep down, there was still something that felt incomplete. So today I'm going to show you why everything you've tried hasn't quite fully worked. And there's this one shift that finally will. At least that's what my clients have been saying. So by the time our time together is complete in the next few minutes, you'll see the peace that you're searching for, the one that brings the clarity, the freedom. Freedom. That is the number one thing that people come to me wanting. And they think that maybe it's a prosperity freedom. Maybe it's a freedom from a relationship. But what they're really saying is, free me from my past. Free me from the emotions that are stopping me being who I truly am. So you've invested the time, the money, and really the heart into your growth. You've done the work. You've done what everyone has told you to do to get the results. And yet you still find yourself stuck in these same patterns. Maybe you thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just figure this out when I know so much? But here's the truth. Ready, love? There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. The problem is that you've been taught to fix the symptoms and not the source. There is a quote that cut me to my core and aided truly in the awareness of this source. And the quote is, you may have heard it. It's not mine, somebody else's, but I read it and I was like, whoa, I want to share it with you. You get bit by a snake. You have two choices. You get bit by a snake, you got two choices. Go after the snake or heal the wound, heal the bite. And when I read that quote, I thought, holy smokes, I've been going after the snake. I've been analyzing the snake, trying to figure out what's wrong with that snake. Let me label that snake. Is that snake a love bomber? Is that snake narcissistic? Do I have a narcissistic tendencies in a relationship? Is it about them? Is it about me? And understanding exactly what happened to the snake and at what age did the snake turn this way? And let me sit with the snake for a while and try to understand why the snake bit me while I continue to be bitten. I was like, holy crap, I have a wound. I wonder what that wound is. I wonder what that deep hurt is. And that's the missing piece. And the root of everything is what I call a core wound, a deep hurt, an unhealed imprint from your past that silently runs your life and business until it's healed. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream, here I am, hey girl. Instead, it shows up as doubt when you should be confident, overgiving or overworking, even when you're exhausted, confusion when you crave clarity, and feeling stuck in an inevitable loop you just can't seem to break. Those are all examples of things that I have experienced, things that my clients have experienced. Have you experienced any of them? Let me just share a story that maybe you can relate with. A successful woman had come to me who honestly, from the outside, looked like she had it all together. And on paper, she was successful. But deep down, her core wound was whispering, you're not enough. No matter what strategy she tried, that wound shaped every choice that she made until we healed it, until she healed it. I gave her the tools, I gave her the how-to. She healed it. And until she did, she couldn't experience real freedom, emotional freedom, which then turns into soul alignment, which then turns into empowerment, which then turns into prosperity. You know what? And when we healed that, everything shifted. Her business expanded, her relationships lightened. And for the first time in years, she felt peace within herself. Would you like to find that core wound? I need to bring something up for you. Just a second. Let me find my share. The missing piece blocking everything. This is a core wound quiz that I put together. I want you to take it now, if you want, all right? So when you experience conflict or criticism, what you actually need is a pen and paper to mark this down, all right? So when you experience conflict or criticism, what is your immediate emotional response? A, I feel rejected and worthless. B, I feel overwhelmed by abandonment or fear. C, I feel misunderstood and invisible. I feel D is I feel disrespected and not good enough. E, I feel ashamed of myself or like a failure. So when you experience conflict or criticism, what is your immediate response? A, B, C, D, or E? Write your answer down. We'll come back to it, okay? And you do not have to share this with anyone. This is for you and your own healing. So how do you tend to cope with intense emotions? A, I withdraw and distance myself from others. B, I cling to people, fearing they might leave me. C, I avoid expressing my feelings, fearing they won't matter. D, I become defensive or try to prove myself. And E, I criticize myself and dwell on my mistakes. So how do you tend to cope with intense emotions? Number 3, which of these statements feels closest to how you perceive yourself? I'm not lovable enough for others. B, people always leave me in the end. C, no one ever really sees or understands me. D, I'm not good enough and I need to prove my worth. E, I'm flawed or broken to my core. Which of these statements feels closest to how you perceive yourself? Number 4, what triggers deep emotional pain for you? A, feeling like someone doesn't want me around. B, being left out or abandoned. C, being ignored or overlooked in important situations. D, being criticized or judged by others. Or E, making mistakes or feeling like I've let others down. What triggers deep emotional pain for you? Number 5, in relationships, what are your deepest fears? A, that I'm unworthy of love and will be rejected. B, that others will leave me or stop caring for me. C, that I will never be truly understood or valued. D, that I will always feel like I have to prove myself. E, that I've disappointed others and be seen as a failure. In relationships, what are your deepest fears? Depending on your level of healing and how much healing and awareness you have, these answers may differ. When I first started my healing journey, I would have answered these differently than how I answer now. Number 6, only 2 more questions left. Number 6, what do you believe would bring you the most emotional healing? A, feeling deeply loved and accepted for who I am. B, knowing that people will stay with me no matter what. C, being truly seen, heard, and appreciated. D, being respected and acknowledged for my value. E, accepting that I don't have to be perfect to be loved. What do you believe would bring you the most emotional healing? And number 7, what's the hardest part about expressing your emotions? A, I'm afraid people will reject or judge me for how I feel. B, I feel that if I express my needs, others will leave. C, I worry that no one will listen or care. D, I don't want others to think I'm weak or unworthy. E, I feel embarrassed or ashamed of my emotions. What's the hardest part about expressing your emotions? Now I invite you to look at those 7 answers and see, what is there a commonality? Are there mostly A's, mostly B's, C's, D's, E's? Now, if there is some sort of confusion around any of these, you can always email me and I'm happy to help you find your core wound. And we can schedule a brief consultation and we'll find your core wound. Now, we won't go into the whole healing of it. I want you to have that awareness. So you can email me at Sarah at sarahsparks.love. If you do have an awareness of it's mostly A's, B's, C's, or D's, write that down. Look at your answers because the results So they're mostly A's. It's rejection wound. Your core wound centers around feelings of rejection. And you may struggle with believing you're worthy, with believing that you're worthy of love. Emotional healing for you will focus on self-love and allowing yourself to be accepted by others. If you had mostly B's, that's an abandonment wound. The fear of being left behind or abandoned is at the root of your emotional pain. Healing for you involves building trust in relationships and knowing that you're worthy of connection and commitment. Mostly C's, it is the invisibility wound. You may feel like you're often overlooked or not truly seen by others. Healing this wound involves reclaiming your voice, standing in your truth, and allowing yourself to be heard and appreciated. If you have mostly D, this is the unworthiness wound. Feelings of inadequacy and the need to prove yourself are central to your experience. Emotional healing will come from knowing that your worth is inherent and you don't need to earn validation from others. And then if it's mostly E, it's a shame wound. You may have deep feelings of shame or believe that something is inherently wrong with you. Healing will come through self-compassion, accepting imperfections, and knowing you are enough just as you are. That is the core wound quiz. And taking it provided me with such clarity because when I first started my healing journey, I had abandonment wound. And I want to give you my own example so that way you can see the complexity of your wound. So I had an abandonment wound, which was completely irrational to me. I was like, I was never abandoned. My parents were always there. I had a stay-at-home mom. My dad was a farmer, so he was in and out of the house. There was never a time that I was just by myself, so I didn't understand it. And then as I did this work myself, the same work now that I share with you that I have been strategically putting together for 2 years, that you've been hearing me talk about on the Healed Process podcast and so forth, and in various trainings. That work I did on myself. I was my first experiment. And what I realized was that abandonment wound was from emotional abandonment. And the snake had bit me, but it was my responsibility to heal that wound. And trust me, it gets frustrating trying to heal something that was never supposed to be yours in the first place. I get it. It can be frustrating, especially for us who have been on this healing and spiritual journey for quite some time. What I realized, though, was what was really shifting was that with this abandonment wound, I realized, wow, that's why I got divorced. I abandoned myself long before he ever abandoned me. And then I was like, wow, I abandoned myself in my jobs that I had before becoming a business owner. I would abandon my soul. I would become this people pleaser. I would abandon myself just to keep the peace. And one of my life lessons that I realized that was like my core life lesson was, oh, wow, Sarah Sparks, you do not have to give up who you are for the love of another. That's the abandonment wound talking, right? And then I realized, oh, wow, because I was operating from this abandonment wound in my business, I would overgive, overshare. I was, again, abandoning myself so others could have their success. I abandoned my own success so they could have success. None of that is healed. None of that is healthy. None of those habits were getting me to where I needed to go. That is aligned with my inherent wealth, with my energy, my body, what my soul came here for. I had to heal that wound if I truly wanted to be the clearest channel through which divine worked. So what had shifted was that it's moving from going after the snake and understanding why you got bit to healing that core wound. And there's a difference between temporary relief and lasting transformation. When you address the core wound, you stop living from the old survival patterns and you begin to live from your soul. And that is the power and the work of the healed process, the living healed process that we are beginning all together on October 8th. That is when the next cohort is happening. And so it's not about fixing who you are, it's about remembering who you are beyond this wound. And let's just do a quick reflection if you so choose. And if you choose to close your eyes just for a moment, think about an area of your life where you felt stuck, even after trying everything. Now let's ask yourself, what old story keeps replaying here? What old story keeps replaying here? And think about it this way. If you're sitting across the table at lunch with a friend and she just happens to say, oh yeah, tell me, fill me in, what's going on? What do you share? That story, whatever came up, is not the truth of who you are. It's the wound. And once healed, you are no longer having to live it. And then imagine your life for a second. Once that wound is healed, you're making decisions with clarity instead of second guessing. You attract aligned opportunities instead of chasing them. You feel energized and free instead of heavy and pressured. Your business, your relationships, your health all begin to reflect the wholeness inside of you. This is the clarity, the freedom, and the soul-aligned power your soul has been calling you towards. And it begins the moment you stop going after the snake and all the symptoms and start healing the root. This is the missing piece. And if you're ready to finally live this and not just understand it, truly live it, I'd love to guide you deeper. If what I've shared here today spoke to your soul, then I want to personally invite you into Living Healed, a 42-day journey back to you, back to your freedom, back to your wholeness. We begin on Wednesday, October 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And for 7 weeks, we will meet together as I guide you step by step through the healed process. This is where you finally get to release the wound that has been silently running your life and step into the clarity and the freedom and the fulfillment of your soul. And you know with every fiber of your being what is actually possible. You've been craving that peace, that alignment, and the ability to experience wealth and success without a constant pressure. This is for you. You can go over to sarahsparks.love/living healed to save your spot. Your soul's next chapter begins here. This isn't about building a business or even about achieving success. This is about you living free, clear, and whole. So let me leave you with this. The wound is not your identity. Wholeness is. Stop trying to go after the snake and start living. Are you done struggling? Are you done suffering? Then live healed. Be dedicated to living healed. I know you have tried everything, but have you tried not giving up? Living healed is waiting for you. I'm Sarah Sparks. So much love to you, and I will see you in Living Healed.